Here we go! Okay, let's go!
And welcome everyone to another One Up XP Show podcast / interview. And this week we sit down with another collegiate program. And this time we are leaving the confines of Michigan and we are heading west. We've been to areas like Idaho. We went to Boise State, checked in on their program. We've been to Florida to check in on Adam Anter's program. And now we're going to go over to Minnesota. You got to carry the O's in Minnesota. I spent a few years over in Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin, Minnesota area, and everyone carries their O's. And then I came back and everyone was like, what happened to you? I was like, what do you mean? I'm fine. But they're like, my O's were very elongated. But we bring in Jacquie Lamm from Minnesota State University. She is a head esports coach there at Minnesota State. Welcome, Jacquie. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. And I do like the whole Minnesota thing because it's very true.
It's very true. The first semester of college, because I went in northern Wisconsin, which, by the way, northern Wisconsin carries their O's way more than even Minnesotans. And I don't know why, but it was like I went home and parents were like, you okay? I was like, what are you talking about? Give me a pop. And they're like, something's wrong with you. It's like, no, I've spent some time in the Northwoods. It's fine. But yes, thank you again. This is take 2, actually. We're just going to air it out there. This is take 2. The first take, for some reason, the files were corrupted. So we just practiced for you all. That's all it is. We're going to make this interview just flawless because we practiced. But Jacquie, thank you for being here again. Thank you for taking the time. I know you're a very busy lady. You have a bunch on your schedule. You have a lot of things going on that we're going to talk about here today. But first of all, we got to talk about Jacquie. How did this start? How did you get involved in esports? How did video games start for you? And how did you get yourself to Minnesota State and start the program there?
Well, I've been a gamer my whole life. My first game was Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Love that game.
Such a good game.
Those last levels can never beat them.
No.
But so I did my master's at MSU, and during my first class, I had a research class, and they asked us to research a topic. And I'm like, hey, I like gaming. Esports was kind of up and coming with programs more. And so I dedicated my entire master's degree to collegiate and high school esports programs and how to build them. Through that, I was with 2 clubs that we had on campus I was part of that started talking with the Universtiy on how to create a varsity program and elevate the clubs. And I advised on the side, and then they hired me after I graduated. So pretty much created my dream job and started the program.
That is so awesome. I mean, you just had this idea and was like, I'm going to lay the blueprint for it. And so I side question, and I think I asked you this last time too, but did anybody take your kind of what you did there, kind of laid the blueprint of like how to set up a program? Has anybody ran with that? Has anybody actually used that to build some programs that you know of?
Yeah. So I advise other colleges since then
Perfect.
and I've given them that layout of how to start them and structure, and hopefully they've used my advice. Yeah.
Now I'm intrigued. So, so when you say you're laying, so does it go from the coaches to the players all the way up to what admins can expect or what admins should do too? So like, if you're me and I say, oh, I'm going to go take this to the athletic director or whoever might be above me and show them this, is it something for everybody to get involved with?
Yeah, it definitely is more for an individual to present it to their board. Be like, this is how you are going to structure your program, how you're going to go from theory to practice. And so it gives them a plate, and here you go. This is what you should present to your board so that they can approve it and see how it is legit and why you should start it.
I love it. That's actually so that's so forward progress in so many ways, because there's not many out there. There's not even many ways. And when you look that there's not too many building blocks to work off of. There's not books on shelves everywhere. It's like, this is how you start an esports program. There might be a book or two, but it's just like, there isn't much material yet. A lot of people are looking to other people for help, and collegiate programs especially turn to each other and help each other grow. And that's what I love about the esports collegiate scene is everybody's looking at everybody's program and saying, oh, that's cool. Oh, what you have is cool, and they're all working together to make the programs better. But that's just how young esports is, you know? So that is super awesome. I love that step forward. You're really kind of catapulting that right into everybody's face, and I love that. All right,
Thanks.
so let's talk about Minnesota State, the Mavericks. I know a little bit about Minnesota State. I've been to the campus before in college, and it's a gorgeous campus. But how did the program start, and how long has it been around?
So we started in fall of 2019.
So just
With
before the pandemic.
Yep, just before. And then our first official season was spring of 2020. Yep. So our first semester we did kind of our recruiting. So we had two really big clubs, a League of Legends club and a CS:GO club. And they really helped start the program. They're the reasons why we were able to have one.
Right.
We didn't have to do any outside recruiting because we already had the students on campus. So through those clubs, we brought on students to start our varsity titles. And then through the spring, we added on Rocket League and Madden because we had student interest. And so those were our first 4 official titles. We ended up coming home with a national championship for Madden. And since then, we've just kind of exploded.
Nice.
We've had more interest. We have a very large school. Well, semi-large. We have just under, I think, 16,000 students this year and 30,000, including online and non-traditional. So we haven't had to do too much outside recruiting because we've had so many student interests currently.
Oh, yeah.
So we just kind of exploded.
Yeah, I think that's how a lot of programs, kind of feel. I've run into, I think I talked to Tristan at Valparaiso and a few others where they're like, yeah, we just put feelers out there to see what the interest would be. And all of a sudden their inbox was just full of, yeah, that'd be great. Let's do it. And it's like, that's how a lot of the programs found a lot of kids to get started. And I mean, to be honest with you, it's video games. You're never going to fall short trying to find someone to play video games with. It seems like there's a ton of people. What does MNSU, we're going to go with that because Minnesota State University, can't call you MSU, even though, I know in Minnesota they might call you MSU, but here in Michigan that goes to someone else. Which we don't talk about that school, but it's fine. We'll eventually have him on the show. I just found out Chris is over there now. But what does Minnesota State do in collegiate esports to stand out and say, hey, check this out? Like, obviously, you do stuff on your part to get the program started, and you did something amazing. Not to mention you're on the board of directors for NACE. So, I mean, you have a lot with you to go into the program, but what does the collegiate program there do to say, hey, check this out, here we are?
So we're definitely still trying to figure that out because we can't offer full ride scholarships like other programs.
Right.
So that is one of my priorities, be like, why should students come to MNSU? And we do, one of the things I think we're really great at is community and building. We have our esports learning community. So that is where students come their freshman year and they live together, they take classes together, they do their homework, studying, and then they're guided by a peer student, usually a sophomore or junior. And so they kind of guide them through their freshman year because freshman year can be very challenging and different for students. So I think that's what really sets us apart is that we have that built in, and it doesn't matter what major you are. So ours is just strictly if you like video games, here's a group of individuals that also like video games. And I think that's really what sets us apart is because this year's class, we have 25 students in there and they instantly made friends. They're all friends. Awesome. It's hard to get them to stop talking during our class because they just want to chit chat because it's the one class they all have together. But it's great that they were able to maybe not find friends their freshman year, but now that they're able to because they have other members within the community that like video games as well.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about, video game kids in general, a lot of them might not get that awesome school experience through high school because in high school, a lot of those kids might have been introverted and might have been just, I don't have a whole lot of friends. I just kind of sit back. And then fast forward to college. Yeah, college can be even scarier. You're now in the real world where it might be even tougher to think about, I have to make friends or who's going to be my roommate or anything like that. But you have something that is awesome with team bonding where you have these kids basically coming in that are looking for other kids just like them. And it's like, oh, hey, cool. I have a friend right off the bat. I have someone that I can turn to right off the bat. And it makes that more of the school atmosphere that you want those kids to have rather than those kids, spending half a year, even a year more introverted than they were in high school and more kind of spaced away, saying, this might not be for me. No, it's for everybody, but you're taking that one step again, saying, yeah, this is for you. This is for this group. This is awesome. Like, get in here and enjoy. I love that. I love every aspect of that because it helps so many kids out that, might not be able to step up and say, hey, I really don't have a whole lot of friends. I'm going to have trouble, but I want to do it. So I think that's huge on your guys' part. Really awesome. What is your hope and vision for the Minnesota State University program in the near and distant future? Obviously, with collegiate esports, it's something so new. You're on the board of directors for NACE, so I'm sure this has been presented to you. NCAA is always a big question. When are they going to get involved? If they're going to get involved, who knows? We're not there. As far as I know, we're not even anywhere close to it. But what is the hope and vision for you guys here and this program in the near to distant future?
I'm hoping that we finish our competition stage.
Yeah.
So that's our next expansion that we are wanting to do. We have kind of Mitch is my boss and the director of Maverick Esports and the COO of IT. So he has a really good outline of what we want to do, and our competition stage is our next step to be able to bring in other schools in-house to be able to watch and to have the ability, just like if you were to go to a basketball game, be able to have parents come and watch their kids play, or friends and family be able to watch the teams compete against each other.
That's awesome.
And just be able to have that expansion, because then we can have more students. We're capped right now. We can only house so many within our facility without having some issues with practice scheduling and matches. So we want everyone to have the best experience that they can.
And that is an issue I think a lot of schools have right off the bat, is like, yeah, we have the space, and then all of a sudden the first year is like, well, the space is gone now. It's a good issue to have because obviously you're growing. But yeah, that is, just expansion in general. I think everybody is aiming for that. And, I think you guys are doing it just right. I think you guys have the right steps to walk up and get to that point. And I only see you guys getting much larger and much quicker. So hopefully, you get everything that you're looking for there.
Yeah.
So
we're looking for a name sponsor if anyone wants to contact me.
Hit up Minnesota State over there. You can do it. There's a lot to go with that. Trust me. So let's get to the questions. We found out a little bit about you. We found out a little bit about Minnesota State. Now, these questions are going to just deep dive more into more Minnesota State and the program that, you kind of cultivated there. But you have a ton of opportunities in Minnesota. I mean, there's a ton of opportunities. And you're just bringing esports to the table for a lot of kids. And it's not just for the current students, though, either. It's also for, other kids that are looking to come up. Invitationals, clubs, varsity esports, all of which we'll get into. But what else are you all looking to build or bring to the front of esports line for everyone as they're looking to come into collegiate esports, maybe high school esports, whatever it is? But what are you looking to build so everybody can get in there?
A space, a community space. So Minnesota is we're kind of lacking when it comes to esports programs.
Right.
We have a couple high schools. So just making putting us on the map for sure, and making sure that we're aware, that other people are aware that we've got some schools and that you can come to Minnesota and play. I think it's really important that students who want to go to college, because not everyone does.
Nope.
But if they want to, they have the opportunity to play video games as well. And I think it's really important that everyone knows that your kid might be in middle school or younger, and it's not a silly thing to play video games anymore.
No, it's not.
Your parents should be investing in you if it's something that they really want to do, instead of being like, hey, get off the console, go touch grass, which I still think is important to do.
Yes.
But
go touch some grass sometimes. It's fine.
Yep. I think just making more awareness of that Minnesota is really up and coming, and we're here to stay.
Yeah, Minnesota is really starting to get to the point where, especially southern Minnesota, where I think Michigan's at. Michigan's a big hub. Wisconsin, I don't know what's happening in Wisconsin just yet, but I know a few colleges that have some sports, but they're slower than other states even. But Minnesota, I have noticed a lot of things going on there. I mean, Rocket League is so big in Minnesota, and a lot of schools, even high schools, are adapting that, and I see a lot of push to grow that into other high schools. And that's what I want to see. I want to see just as much as it's exploding in college, I want to see it go down to the kids in high school. Because like you said, not everybody is meant for college, right? And not everybody wants to go to college. A kid shouldn't have to go to college to play esports competitively. They should be able to do that in high school. Maybe some middle school programs, some club programs or whatever, but I like to see it boom in high school so those kids can do that too, because not everyone's going to get that school experience where they're accepted as a team or a team member or anything like that. So I really want that to kind of trickle down, because like you mentioned, and like we all know, not everybody's meant to go to college. Not everybody does go to college. So I'd like to see it kind of trickle down too. Now the Rock The Lan. This was a huge thing that you guys put on this year. It was the first one, correct?
Yep, first one.
And it just took place, and you presented that for the first time in southern Minnesota. Is it the students that are putting that on? The marketing items and all the production and anything like that? Or is it something that you kind of thought up and be like, hey, this would be something really cool to do?
So it's both. So
Okay.
the idea came from one of our sponsors, which is a local Gillette Pepsi.
Oh, nice.
They're one of our sponsors.
Mhm.
They gave us Rockstar. And so one of the guys there, Caleb, he's a great guy. He wanted to know if they could host a tournament and what it would take. And so we started chatting. I'm like, yeah, we could do that. And then it just expanded into, yes, let's do that. And we planned for about a year. So the students that helped would be our student workers. We have a full back of house team besides just our players that help with marketing, that helped with the TO side, helped with managing our team. So they were definitely there to help with that. We kind of brought the structure and how everything was going to run, but then our students, I mean, it was there for the students to play and it was super successful. I was so worried that because it was our first event that Twitter is kind of where things go to fall sometimes,
Right.
And I was just really worried that someone was gonna have a bad experience and then go out to Twitter and
here's my twit longer.
Yep. But it wasn't. We got
Good.
such good positive feedback. We got really good constructive criticism too, which I found really beneficial, of certain things that we could plan for next year, which we already are planning again.
Awesome.
But everyone just really enjoyed it. It was a great day. It was a long day.
Yeah.
But I think it was a really good event.
Good. And I've heard nothing but great things from it too, because I have actually talked to some that were there. Who was all there? For everyone who might not know, obviously this was put on by you guys, but there was a lot of colleges there. Who was all there?
Yeah, so we had 16 schools that between myself, Minnesota Rocker, and Pepsi invited.
Okay.
So there was a lot of Michigan schools.
Yeah.
We had Michigan Tech, Lawrence Tech, Illinois State, Davenport, Western Tech, the University of Minnesota came, North Dakota.
Wait, what school in North Dakota?
University of North Dakota.
Really?
North
UND
Dakota
has
State.
a esports
No.
program?
North Dakota State University, that one. NDSU.
Oh, NDSU. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
That's cool.
St. Ambrose came, and a couple other that I can't remember.
Very awesome though. Yeah, I mean, we've had in fact, I've already talked to Lawrence Tech. We'll have them on the show tomorrow morning. She's gonna sit down with me tomorrow morning. Thankfully, do you know? I was like, I actually follow them, but I haven't talked to her yet. So Danielle will be on tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, we've had Davenport on. We've had Caitlin on from Michigan Tech. So we've had a lot of these schools on, but it doesn't matter when you have a LAN event. I think everybody just wants to go. Let's be in this if we can do it, because LAN events are something else. Like, there's something to competing online, but when you're sitting next to someone, very much like when you're playing together in a team in a lab, yeah, you have that respect for someone next to you. You might have more onus on, okay, I shouldn't die here, or if you die, you feel more pressure. Now, if you're sitting across from your teammates, that's even more pressure, or from your opponents, that's even more pressure. There's something about a LAN environment that just makes it so much better. And it is super awesome to see LANs coming back, because during the pandemic, obviously, we didn't have LANs. I mean, even the big pro esports didn't have LANs. So seeing it starting to come back is something that I really want everybody to be a part of, because they're just super amazing to be a part of. There's a vibe to it that I just can't explain, but there's something greater than a rock concert. There's something there that isn't there with professional traditional sports. There's just something about LAN events that just send you to a different spot. And I highly recommend, if anybody gets the opportunity, to check one out, because it is crazy. You have varsity esports and student-run clubs. How many teams and how do kids get involved do you guys have there?
So this semester, we have 5 titles, and our titles rotate based off of student interest
Okay.
and what students we have. So this semester we have League of Legends, Rocket League, Smash, Call of Duty, and iRacing.
Yep.
And so and then we have clubs on campus too. Anyone can start a club. I think we have a D&D club starting. That's pretty
cool.
tabletop. Yeah, tabletop.
Nice.
And so kids can get onto our program by filling out a form. They go to esports.mnsu.edu and they fill out our varsity interest form.
It'll be right at the bottom of the screen.
And through that, we'll contact you, and not everyone may get an interview, but our goal is to at least reach out and give them the interest of this is what MSU, what degree do you want first, because we are education first, playing second. And if it's a good fit, then we continue talking with them and convince them to come to school for us and play for us.
Yeah, I mean, to be quite honest and quite fair, I mean, that's what you do in college. You're a student athlete, so the athletics are always secondary. So, like, don't think you're going to be like, oh, well, I'm just going to go in here and not study. No, you're going to study. I mean, that's just goes for any collegiate sport. And if you don't, guess what? You're going to be put in a room and you're going to study. So with that being said, though, as you said, how kids get involved, varsity esports are like traditional sports in many ways, has a limited number of spots, especially on varsity programs. Are there scholarships or other incentives for prospective student athletes that might be interested? Obviously, you said you don't have full scholarships, but are there other ways that kids can get help if they're interested in coming to Minnesota State?
Yep. So we have academic scholarships that open up every February that I try really hard to curate a list for them to apply for. And help them look, because Minnesota has thousands of scholarships and you can get a full ride. You just have to dig through the scholarships. So I ask several different questions, and then I just go searching for the scholarships and then give them to the students to apply. And then it's up to them if they want. We had one student who actually did get a full ride just by filling out all the different scholarships, and she got the presidential scholarship too. So it's possible. You have to be willing to put in the work, write some essays, and you can definitely still get the full ride.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just one thing you have to do. I know I didn't do it as hard as I should have when I went to college, but it's just, look in every nook and cranny, because you might think, well, there's not going to be one there, but oh, look, there's one there for you, and it might fit just your mold. So there's many different ways to look and to get into scholarships that might not be something directly what you're interested in, but it will help you get to where you want to be. So that is definitely a good point there. Now we have to talk about the training facilities, because you do have training facility there on campus. They're a huge part of any sport production, both mentally and physically. So whether it's esports or traditional sports, I mean, you need a training facility. What has gone into Minnesota State's training facility?
So we have 16 PCs. They're actually up for new ones. So we do a 3-year rotating plan. So yeah, we're going to be getting some new ones next year. Maybe after our competition stage.
Maybe some 40 series in those bad boys.
Oh, probably. We'll see what sponsors we can get to pay for. Whoever can give us the biggest sponsorship package.
Yeah.
But no, so we have 16 stations that our students, the entire student body can use our facility from 10 to 4, Monday through Friday. So it's usually filled with regular students or students who might just want to be doing a Fortnite tournament. We have Minecraft on there. We have just about every game. And students do download other games sometimes that we'll have to go in and delete. But if they get to play it, it's nice to see a student just come in between classes and be able to use our facility. After 4:00, we shut it off for public use, and it is just for our players that practice usually between 4 and 10 between matches, VODs, and practice. Practice.
Yeah, you gotta do all that. I mean, the VODs are huge, and that's what I like about esports too, because a lot of people might not understand. Like, traditional sports, you watch video after the fact. Maybe a week after the fact or a few days after the fact. But VODs, the cool thing is, man, as soon as you're done, you can just pull them up and watch. It's just like, okay, I did that wrong or I did that wrong. And that's the beauty about technology, man. You stream, you get done, you can watch whatever back and see what you need to work on. And that's what I like about, having the facilities like you guys have. It's so easy to have everything right there. Every kid dreams of video game summer camp. I mean, who doesn't? I wish that was around when I was a kid, because I would go every year. But Minnesota State has an esports summer camp How does this work and who can attend? Can I be there next summer?
I mean, you can definitely come. We'd love to have you as a guest speaker.
Oh, I want to play.
I mean, I can get you hooked up too.
Oh, okay, cool.
Our summer camps are evolving each year. We started our first year with online because of COVID.
Right.
This past year we had 2 camps. We had a middle school camp and then we had a high school camp. And I think it's important to separate the two because they're going to be 2 different levels and we taught them 2 different things.
Right.
So we're not just here to play video games. We're here to teach you how to play with your students, to play with your teammates. I couldn't think of the word teammates.
No, that's fine. That happens.
And then what leagues that you can participate in, and then we get into the gaming, the mechanics, and playing. So we kind of do a full house of why you should play, how to play, and then getting to play.
That's awesome. I love that. And not many programs do that. I think I've run into one other that has one, and that was Doc over at Boise State. But it's so cool to think like you know, kids can come in and learn the basics of what is esports, because a lot of kids might just sit here and play and be like, oh man, I'm so good, but they have no idea where to go, or what to do or how to start or even set up a program. And something like this is something you can just fly with, because even if coaches are interested, they can come see how things work, or, there's just so many opportunities to having a video game summer camp. Because it's so new. So I really like that as well. Like anything that we have talked about here in Minnesota State, and like the first question or one of the questions I asked was like, what do you stand out in the future? There's so much here that stands out that not many programs are doing, and I love to see it there at Minnesota State. So what leagues does Minnesota State take part in? Obviously, you're part of NACE, so you got to be in some NACE things, I'd assume. But what leagues are you guys all in?
Yep. So NACE is our number 1 league, but then we also compete in CLAW in the fall.
Yep.
We were going to do their fall warm up for this. Spring. And they have a fall warm up in the fall, but we it was too late and our players decided not to do that. Right. But then we also compete in CCL, so that's College COD in the spring, and then our Rocket League team plays in the CCA for qualifiers for CRL.
Yeah.
And then we do
Collegiate Rocket League, right?
Yep. Yeah. Rocket League. And we also compete in side tournaments with AVGL. We used to do UGC, but that league is kind of I don't know what's happening to them.
Slowly going the way of the dodo bird.
Yeah. But then anytime there's any other side tournaments, we'll compete in, and LANs. Like we just talked about, LANs are really up and coming. Students are wanting to get out and play. And so we're definitely wanting to travel this year.
So and kind of jumping the gun here, because I haven't had Danielle's interview yet, but they do the WAC, obviously, because a lot of their schools in the conference have esports. Do you guys have anything when it comes to a conference tournament? Or do you have conferences or anything like that out there yet?
I've tried reaching out to we're in the NSIC. It's the Northern Sun Belt Conference, and NAIA. And I've reached out to both because we have enough schools within our conference to create our own WAC. We just haven't gotten the interest from the actual traditional sports side to be like, hey, we want you in.
Yeah, I can see that. It'll get there. Trust me. I think Jacquie, with all that she's accomplished so far, will at some point get this so everybody can do it. But it is cool to see that, kind of, because like in Michigan, again, it's a thing that we're spoiled with, is we are a hub, so there are more things like that. But once you leave state, obviously there isn't nearly as many opportunities. But when you see one starting to flourish and making those opportunities, that's where Minnesota State really takes, I think, steps in and says, yeah, here we are. What do you have to say to prospective students or parents even of prospective students looking to come to Minnesota State?
I would encourage them to let their kids play video games. So we do have requirements, and it's really important that students, have good grades. We have a 2.0 GPA. You have to be a full-time, so that's 12 credits. Your account needs to be in good standing. So for League of Legends, you can't have any bans for the past 365 days.
No.
So I think it's important for parents to realize that your kid can play video games healthy. And their mental health, maybe that's what they want to do, and so support them. My sister actually, and I brought this up last time. My sister doesn't want her daughter, my niece, to be a YouTuber. And that's what she wants to do with when she grows up. She's only 11, so that might change, but I'm like, that's great. How can I help you make this dream come true? And so just being able to support your kid is something that I think is really important. Look for those camps, look for those leagues. There's free leagues, there's MNVL, there's Vanta League. There's so many tournaments that your kid or student can participate in where they can do it healthy. And then the toxicity is going down. If you look at Twitter right now, people are getting called out for really basic things. And I love seeing that right now. And I'm really enjoying seeing Twitter sometimes. But I think parents just need to realize that support your kid and there's opportunities.
100,000,000%. Can't say it any louder. Is, you might not understand it, but little Johnny or little Susie, what they're doing is what they want to do. And that is now achievable, whereas 20 years ago, it wasn't necessarily achievable by any means. And video games were a hobby for many people just to kind of waste time or do some challenges or challenge themselves or, have random sleepovers and you played for 12 hours. But now it is, a competitive thing, and it is a very fruitful thing. The video game industry is $1 billion, billions upon billions of dollar industry. And there's much more to it than just gaming. There's production. There's, medical professionals in esports. There's everything under the sun. If it's in traditional sports, it's in esports in some fashion. And that's what's out there. So if these kids are like, I want to play Rocket League, my best advice to any parents that might see it is just sit down with little Johnny or Susie and see what it's about. Understand where they're coming from and understand that this is how they compete, For me, I kind of had best of both worlds. I was on traditional sports, but at the same time, I was very competitive in video games. And I was like, I was, again, spoiled. I didn't see the other views of anything. So when you step out of the box, it's like, okay, I see the struggles on both sides. But the best thing I think that can possibly happen is, just talk to your kid. Just talk to the students. See what they want to do, understand what they want to do. And if you have questions even further, that's where you contact people like Jacquie or some other coaches, or maybe even some people outside the realm of coaching to see how they can possibly do it healthier, because that is a big key right now. I sat down at length with Gamer Doc about this. She brought up a perfect point, is like, you wouldn't play football without a trainer, right? So of course you wouldn't, because retirement age would be 20, 21, 22. And that's what's happening in esports. Kids are retiring as pro or from pro status at 20, 21, 22 because they have ligaments that look like 60-year-old people ligaments. They have strained eyeballs, or they sit wrong because their posture's terrible, or they're just not taking the right amount of sleep or food or health into question, and they just can't do it anymore. So there are a million things that esports continues to build on and will, but it has to be done the right way. But is there anything else that you want to add before we get into our fun little game of 10 questions, earn one up?
Yeah, I want to add that you don't have to be a player just to be on a competitive varsity team. Programs aren't made up of just players. They're made up of an entire back of house. You can literally do any degree. You can be in it and you can participate in a varsity esports program. We need shoutcasters, broadcasters, help with stream. We need people help with marketing. We need people to help look for sponsors. So even if you aren't the best gamer, I encourage you to still go to your local college, and ask if they have a program, ask what kind of clubs they have, because there is going to be an opportunity for you. And even if it's not something that you want to do for the rest of your life, it's an experience in college. It's something that we all need help. So also, if you would like to come to Minnesota State University, you can follow us at Esports MNSU, or go to our website, esports.mnsu.edu.
Perfect. Nailed it. And I want to build off that by saying there are many people that went to look to game and then became a caster and then ended up in the pro ranks of casting. So she has an exact point. Like, even if you can't game where you want to go, doesn't mean it's the end of the road. Because you could end up being a caster, which you might be better caster than you are a gamer. Who knows? Some people don't do it until they get to somewhere and they're like, oh, wow, I actually really like this. A prime example of some of those we have talked to. So, it's something to definitely look into. All right, Jacquie, are you ready for round 2 of our fun game, 10 questions to earn a one up? Obviously, it's just 10 random questions, nothing that's going to ruin our friendship, but it is a lot of fun. You have advantage over anybody that's ever played this game because you play it for a second time, and with the same questions. So are you ready? Jackie, for your 10 questions to earn a 1-up.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Number 1, Jackie. Maybe I should mix these up. No. What is the perfect sandwich?
A BLT.
A BLT, the good old classic BLT, bacon, lettuce, and tomatoes. Now, question for you here: do you prefer it toasted or just normal?
Toasted for sure.
Toasted BLT. All right. Number 2, iPhone or Android, Gail?
iPhone.
Thank you.
The only thing I have.
Yeah, it's the only way to go. Don't ever think about getting that Android thing. Number 3, scariest animal. What is Jackie's scariest animal? And if I recall, this one's funny because we argued about it and then the video came out and I was like, okay, I get it now.
And it attacked me today.
Oh,
a
did
squirrel. Yes. There was one outside my house that tried to get inside my house.
Oh, man.
They're vicious in Minnesota, I'm telling you.
Vicious squirrels in Minnesota.
Squirrel.
It's a squirrel. Okay, squirrels. With that being said, I'm inserting here the nicest squirrel that you'll ever see in your life, because we feed the squirrels here at home. And I'm quickly going through the pictures to find it. Okay, so the quick story on this is we feed our squirrels, and we just give them corn, and they bury the corn throughout the year, and we get corn stalks every now and then, but nothing ever comes of those corn stalks. They grow late in the summer or whatever. This year, we actually had a tiny cob grow on this stalk, all right? So we had this little corn cob this big. I shucked it, and then I put it on the table, and this is what happened. This guy, so when my phone, he's holding the corn cob and eating it like a human being.
See?
On his little
vicious.
picnic table.
He is plotting something for
He's
sure.
plotting something. How can I
He
get
looks
more?
huge too.
Yeah, he was a big boy. But he was holding it, and Kyle, my wife, even said he would go down the row and rotate it like a human being. I was like, see? He planted it, and we just got it for him. But squirrel, you're going with squirrel. And insert video here. We'll put that video of the guy, the squirrel, because that was hilarious.
That was so funny. They attack people.
He yelled his wife's name. It's in here. All right. I think. Okay, I replaced this one for you because I'm pretty sure I did. So number 4 was favorite sports movie, but I don't think you could come up with one. So you being the huge Harry Potter fan you are, I replaced it with our Harry Potter question from last time because I complimented her on her Twitter. If you go to her Twitter, which is @Lugnuts, it says, why couldn't it be follow the butterflies? Ron Weasley. That's like one of the best lines in the entire series because it's spiders. And
Yep.
it's not butterflies. So number 4, Jackie, is Harry Potter or Voldemort?
Voldemort.
Yes, you went with Voldemort. You're not the only person that's gone with Voldemort either. So,
I'm a Slytherin fan.
she's a Slytherin fan. So, okay. Got you. Number 5. Would you rather spend a week in the forest or one night in a haunted house?
Oh, haunted house for sure.
Haunted house.
I love everything horror.
I do too. It's such a good season.
October. It's my favorite month. It's great.
Have you seen any good scary movies lately?
There's a new TV show that is on Netflix that is M. Night.
The M. Night Shyamalan? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That one I just started. So
he's releasing a movie too. That's coming out. That looks really good. We just saw Barbarian, which was really, really good. We saw it in theaters last weekend, and then we've been cooking through the list of horror movies, and some of them have been really good. But I mean, it's like off the map indies. It's not the traditional ones. The traditional ones we watch all the time. Some off the map indie ones. Whew, you want horror? That's pretty good. All right, number 6. This is the hardest question in here. What number am I thinking of?
Oh man, is it the same as last time? 7.
Number 7. Plane, train, or automobile?
None. I hate them all. But, I don't like traveling.
them all.
I'm a severe introvert. I'd rather just
By the
stay
way, the
home.
answer to number 6 is never right, so that's why
Okay.
never right. Number 8. What is Jackie's biggest fear?
Oh, this question again. So I have huge imposter syndrome, and not I fear that people think that I'm a joke, or that I'm not serious, or that I'm not a good mentor, and that my peers don't look up to me or don't think that I'm legit. And so I still go through that, and I know it's not true. I get compliments, and I have a great group of friends who are other coaches. It's funny just to say that most of my friends are other coaches across the state, across the country, the world. And so my biggest fear is just that I'm not legit.
Hey, guess what? You are legit, and you're truly an amazing human being that is putting the step forward in esports for not just the collegiate scene, but a lot of people. So don't let anyone tell you any different, because it is you are an amazing human being. So number 9, DC or Marvel girl?
Marvel, 100%.
Okay. I can get on that. My biggest thing is Marvel movies are so good, but DC comics are just so good.
Yeah,
I'm a
that's
Batman
very true.
kid,
Yep.
but the problem is, like, DC movies are just not good.
They try.
They try, but it's so bad. All right, last question, and then you're off the hot seat here, Jackie. Number 10, one song for the rest of your life on repeat. What is it?
I am changing my answer from last time to My Chemical Romance, Black Parade.
Such a good tune. When I was a young boy, I just saw them, and it was so good. That's actually one of the things I recorded. It's so good. Man, that was such a good concert. And then yesterday, the big announcement was Blink-182's back together. Woo! World tour. And tickets went on sale today, and I found a code to get in, and like all the tickets were gone. I was like, no.
Bad.
But there's a few more days left in ticket sales. But that does it. Jackie, you are off the hot seat. You have earned your 1-up for the second time. So you have 2 1-ups now. And so if we have you back, we'll just have to do a new set of questions. You could have 3 1-ups. Just don't go dying before then, because then you can't. These aren't real 1-ups. You can't just come back. All right. So,
Okay.
But thank you so much, Jackie, for being here. I appreciate it. Jackie Lamm, head esports coach at Minnesota State University. If you want to get a hold of her, all of her information will be down below. Whether if you're on Spotify or SoundCloud, you can head to the 910 News website and get all the information. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can get all the information down below. But I do appreciate Jackie again. Round 2. Hopefully the video isn't corrupted this time, and we don't have to do a take 3. But you know what they say, 3rd time's a charm. I really hope we don't have to do
Nope.
it 3rd time. But,
You'll get bored of me.
Yeah. I will never get bored of you, Jackie, ever. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you soon.
Here we go.